Tyler's with us in Knoxville. Hey, Tyler, what's up?
Hi, Dave. Great to speak with you. So
You too.
we have a home construction business, have about 50 employees, did about $8 million in revenue, but last few years have just been especially rough for us. I'm CFO, and I can tell the whole executive team has been very kind of just worn out by decreasing revenue. I mean, week to week, struggling to make payroll, pay subs. And we're just kind of having a discussion now of, do we keep going, hoping things turn around, or kind of pivot and kind of sell the company, pivot to something else, whatever that is, and trying to decide how to make that decision.
Okay. So you're doing spec houses?
Both spec and contract, and just sales has slowed down. Obviously this year a little bit with interest rates, obviously not helping us there, but a little bit of both. Primarily it is we're getting contract beforehand. But
Yeah,
revenue
I have no interest in the spec. I have no interest being in the spec business in this environment. I don't like specs anyway, but super high risk in this environment. So, contract makes a lot of sense though. And what price range are you doing most of your contract in?
Yeah, so most of them are normally somewhere in the $300,000 to $500,000. They're tiny homes.
Why? Why are you doing custom that cheap?
That's where the price point we've kind of found where we're at, is what people are paying.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking, 500 square feet homes most of the time.
Did you say 500 square feet?
Correct. We're doing tiny homes that are kind of mostly used as vacation homes.
Oh, okay.
So, we're talking, $800, $900 a square foot in some cases.
Yeah, well, there's good margin in that for sure.
Yep.
Depending on what the dirt costs under it. But you're doing that up in the mountains and the resort areas around Knoxville then?
Correct.
Okay. All right. And you're selling you're building those on contract for
Correct.
$800 a foot in Knoxville. Holy crud. Why are you not making bank? You did $8 million of that. Your margins ought to be incredible.
You'd think that.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah. I think there's just been some very poor decisions from the owner, if I'm being honest, of just kind of getting greedy and pouring all of it into next project, and not setting aside the profit margin to...
Okay, so the profit margin is not the problem, then the business is not the problem. The reinvestment back into the business unwisely is the problem.
Correct. And a lot of these, we are selling the lot prior to doing the infrastructure. And I think I'm the first outside accounting hire, and there's been very poor planning on the owner's side of leaving money aside for finishing out communities, setting aside rainy day fund, all that, and just been kind of.
So he's been developing, and he hasn't sinkholed the money. He hasn't kept retained earnings to finish each development out.
Yeah, to do utilities,
So he got to do the next deal to finish the last deal because he didn't bank it.
Correct.
Oh, geez. That's classic.
Yep.
Okay. All right. And now that things have slowed down, that game is up because you don't have the next deal to fix the last deal anymore. Now I see your stress point. Okay.
Yep.
So the business model isn't bad. The financial management of the business has been bad. That's what we're saying. Okay.
Yeah, and
that's okay. I've done that too.
Up.
I mean, everybody has. I'm not picking on him. I'm just saying. So the question is, does he want to start being wiser and start holding, basically run accrual accounting is what you're trying to teach him, right? Where he sets the money aside associated with the project in the project and quits acting like it's profit and rolling it to the next deal because it's not real money. It's like not paying your taxes. It comes back, bites you later. Is he willing to make those changes in his flow? And you might have to make them gradually, and hopefully you can keep enough business on the books to actually make the changes and cover the hole that he's in on those other projects. But there's nothing about what you were describing that would not be a reason to continue doing unless he's gotten himself so far out over a barrel that you can't make the swing. You follow what I'm talking about?
I am, and I think that's the main struggles we're having as an executive team is we know we've got a great product. We know we've got a great opportunity here, and it's just managing up.
Yeah.
and kind
So
of helping
is he
him see.
just unwilling to listen and learn, or?
That's what it feels like. Just a lot of, despite the company dealing with a lot of financial issues, still kind of operating in his personal life as if it's all fine and all that. And that's bleeding into the business where I think he's acting like nothing's wrong. There's been no change in sales, all that. And so still trying to, he's wanting to hire an acquisitions guy right now to find more land and more opportunities. And we're just telling him there's no money there to do that. We got to finish what we got first. And doesn't seem too receptive to that because he believes the only way to do it is to keep this model going of next project pays for the last one.
Yeah, you've been just living over a barrel your whole life. Yeah. It's classic. I mean, I grew up in the real estate business, so it happens all the time. The problem is it's not sustainable because the first time there's a downturn, which is what we're sitting in right now, the volume slows down. The math quits working, as you obviously know. You're the CFO, so I'm not telling you anything. What would I do? What would I do? Well, I don't know. Is this guy going to sell? It doesn't sound like a guy that would sell. He's the eternal optimist.
He got hit with a very large IRS bill on October 15th there, and so he's looking to, he may be forced to sell, is what it sounds like. But I don't know.
Then the math has caught up and hit him in the back of the head, and you aren't left with a choice. Because he also hadn't been setting his stinking taxes aside, is what you just told me.
Yep.
Are they unpaid 941s?
No, it's
good.
It's 1040.
Okay.
So,
all right, good. Because the 941s will pierce corporate veil and land on his lap anyway. All right. Oh my God. All right. Yeah, I'm selling. I mean, you're not left with a choice because what I was thinking was earlier in the conversation, I didn't have all this last piece of information. I was thinking that instead of 100% of the money forward, and to cover the back is to start to gradually, a little bit at a time, chip away at the hole that you're in and get back up to square. You see what I'm saying? And so if it took a year's worth of projects to get back to square to where you're actually funding the project from the project rather than from the last project or the next project, that kind of a thing, you could do that a little bit at a time. You don't have to do it full stop. You see what I'm talking about?
Yep.
You could like take a chunk and say, okay, we're going to do 25% a quarter, or we're going to do 12.5% a quarter for 2 years, and you could make the full turn if you did that. And I've walked with people through that consulting before and shown them how to do it, and you obviously understand the math and could do that. But the problem is now you got the double whammy. You get hit with this, and the market has slowed down, so you get the whole you got perfect storm going now. And you're probably left with no options. So I guess you are selling. That's sad, though, because it's actually doable. I'm not a huge fan of tiny homes, but I am a huge fan of selling something for $800 a foot that you can build for $180. Oh, my gosh. That's pretty sweet margin. In the home building business, it's unheard of. It's great margin. And it does, tiny home, if it works anywhere, it works in a resort setting. So it's like a weekend cabin. Little tiny cabin, 500 square footer. Huh. Very interesting. Yeah. I think he's got to sell, dude. I'm sorry. Wow. Unless you guys can figure out a way to get the IRS bill and make the turn, and that's going to involve an act of will on the owner's part. But if you got a stubborn owner, a slow economy, and an IRS bill, that's called the perfect storm.